Another day in crypto means yet another pullback. And of course, that means every single crypto coin over the past 24 hours is down. And the funny part is, to some people, this will seem like the worst thing ever, but to some, this is amazing. Now, for all my traders out there, this is actually where Bitcoin is starting to get to a bit of a discounted position again, where longing seems like a better idea rather than shorting. It seems like we're getting ourselves yet another opportunity to enter, but there's a few quite interesting things to note. One is that we are right now facing a very interesting support level at about $105,000. Why is it so interesting? Well, one of the key parts we are facing right now is the fact that the tops have been declining over the past couple of weeks. You can see the top we made over in May was about 112,000. Then in June, it was about 110,000. And right now over in the, let's just call it end of June, we saw about 108.5. While at the same time, we actually have also seen ourselves make lower lows, which is typical of a short-term downtrend. Well, obviously higher lows and I should say lower highs and lower lows is, well, as typical a downtrend as things can go, right? This is what the movement looks like. But the reason I said that, even though a downtrend is not really what you like to see, right? Because almost nobody likes prices continuing to go down, and you might think of shorting here at one of these levels. If you did not get in at the top, right, where we basically peaked out at, and you're thinking of shorting now, let me just quickly show you one contrary beautiful pattern though, which is obviously the bull flag, bullish flag, whatever you want to call it, where you basically have a strong uptrend. Well, yeah, we set a new all-time high, so that was definitely a strong uptrend. Consolidation, basically sideways trading with a downward bias, and then yet another strong uptrend following it. If we zoom this out and take a look at how prices have been performing, we can indeed see we had ourselves a massive let me just quickly turn that around actually. We had ourselves a massive, strong uptrend, right? We can see it going from, let's just quickly see what the price was at, roughly 75,000 all the way towards 112, right? And then from here, we're basically hoping that as soon as this downtrend breaks, we are again going to see ourselves another massive spurt, perhaps as high as $150,000 per Bitcoin. Now, this coincides with a lot of the previous stories we've been talking about as to how the cycle usually looks like. This, what I've drawn in here for you, right? I actually drew this in over a year and a half ago, I believe. So that was most likely around the January or so of 2024. I'm thinking it was probably before January 2024 because, as you can see, I made a downwards curve in my expected price move. So the fact that I put a downwards curve even though the price went up right there is showing me I most likely actually drew this in around this level right here. So around October of 2023 is most likely when I made this. Why? Well, because if you take a look at Bitcoin's historic performance, right, the line here has basically never been broken. And you can see I ended that line at roughly January 2024. So most likely I was drawing this all the way back then, right, or before that level at least. And if you want a different angle to see it slightly better, here you go. Right, we basically talk about this on the channel all the time, but it showcases what Bitcoin's slightly longer performance looks like. It's basically just up and up and up with some slight downtime every now and then, right? Now, at the same time though, what is interesting is as it currently stands, I still believe an altcoin season is going to hit, partially based on the fact that Bitcoin's really big spurt has not happened yet this season. We've been gearing up to it for a long time, and I believe the moment we break out above, in this case here, about 108,000, the moment we break this pattern, we actually start the altcoin season because we're getting to a point now, right? We get to the second half of 2025. This is where things might really start to get kind of crazy, especially because I expected the real hike, at least for Bitcoin, to start slightly sooner. It's not happened yet, but I still believe it will. I've seen many articles over on Twitter state that because there are like 10 million different cryptos now, 100 times more or 1,000 times more than back in 2021, most coins won't do well. And I counter that by saying many of the small memes, many of the crappier projects probably won't make it, right? It's just the truth. There are too many. Then again, logically, the amount of money that will enter this space once a real altcoin season hits is unbelievable, especially with some of the more recent ETF approvals and things of that sort. It's just a lot of new money that's going to enter our space. It's not just the old crypto heads that are reinvesting their old profits. It's new, fresh money. And this time around, relatively, it might not be that crazy because we might only grow tenfold, for example. But let's say we grew from 300 billion to 3 trillion last time. This time we go from 3 trillion to 30 trillion. The amount of money that some of these smaller coins can pump still is just insane. And that's why I think even though maybe not every single coin will go crazy, that moment still has to happen. And what is that indicative of? Or how do you see that? Well, as it currently stands, we're still, if you take a look, see my camera's going down. If you take a look at previous bull markets, what we've seen is Bitcoin's dominance always being at a crazy point and then rapidly decreasing as altcoins started taking over. But as you can see, basically this is the January 5th was when XRP peaked in 2018. If you see, ever since that point, since that peak, Bitcoin's market cap went up from 39% or so to, in this case here, like 75% in its peak of basically 2021, where another altcoin season hit, went down all the way as the market went down towards about 38%. Right now, slowly but surely climbing back up, specifically because ETFs have been going well, MicroStrategy is buying a ton, etc., etc., etc. The moment we break this towards the downside, right? That's again when you know an altcoin season has hit, but right now it's just been building, building, building. And this is also the moment where Bitcoin, theoretically speaking, still is strongest, still is best for gains overall. And that has proven itself with many altcoins not breaking an all-time high, but Bitcoin time after time breaking it. Now, I will also state that for my bot strategies, and if you've got no idea, I basically have the Bitcoin bot right here, XRP bot, a lot of bots. All they do is just get in, right, and start buying as price go down. This is basically what this was meant for, right? To summarize for some of the people that are new, I've got a lot of trading bots over on a platform called Pionex. Matter of fact, if you've not pressed that like button just quite yet, let's try to get to 400 likes today on this video, but more importantly, I've got a lot of links down below. The first link right here is to Pionex. It's a crypto exchange that I use to trade bots on, which is available from any country in the world as they do not require KYC. But if you're in America or some countries like that, you will need to use a VPN or they will flag your account. But again, you can actually even get $100 for signing up. No need to verify your ID, just letting you guys know about that. There's some bot links right there. But there's also right now a massive trading competition going on over on Blowfin. Matter of fact, it's actually upwards of $4 million that teams can win for participating in that. And just take a look at Bitcoin now. I actually should not be making this video. We should actually be going a bit crazy because if we take a look at the daily moving average here is what we can see, what a beautiful bounce we are seeing right now for Bitcoin. Again, my average Bitcoin price is still significantly lower for this small trade of, let's quickly see, about $100,000 or so in this trade. It's still significantly lower than the current prices. I kind of don't want to mess that up, but it does seem like this is again a make or break moment for Bitcoin, where if I was looking at this with a fresh eye and I had $0 in any position right now, this is again a point where if you missed that crucial dip a while back, right now you get another chance to speculate on the fact that the trend has turned around. The market will most likely continue on, and think about it from this angle, you're getting yourself a juicy 3.5% discount. And again, this is a point where speculating on some of the smaller altcoins is not wise. We're basically speculating on the broader market. But think about it like this. We are seeing a short-term downtrend, yes. And so logically, you think you go with the trend. So we think of shorting, we think of prices going down, but then I present to you the overarching proof, right? The overarching price action that you can see, the trend that can easily be observed, and the reason why I don't like shorting Bitcoin, at least in this market. Again, if you're thinking of shorting some altcoins on the short term because, well, Bitcoin's dominance still is showing strong signs of continuing on to grow, at least for a little bit, and you're speculating that even right now, Bitcoin is just going to continue on slightly more downwards. And so altcoins, as Bitcoin perhaps bounces off 105,000 or falls through on the short term, falls back to 102.7, that in the meantime, altcoins will fall, and thus you want to take advantage of that. Sure. All I'm providing to you here is the overarching blueprint, right? The overarching patterns, and the fact that it still seems way more likely we are going to see an insane burst where altcoins like XRP, Solana, etc. all benefit from greatly. than for us to continue down from here forever and that there won't be an altcoin season. I still am highly convinced we will see one, and I'll be the most profitable one yet. But if you don't, let me know down below why not. And I'd say that's about it for this little crypto update on prices. I just wanted to get a little update in today because I'm realizing, hey, this might be a good opportunity. And I wanted people to see this overarching Bitcoin pattern. And that's about it for today's little crypto update. But again, another update on the news will probably be coming out in a few hours.